Hi everyone, Byron White here. Connor, are you here with us?
Hello, I sure am. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, indeed. Hear you loud and clear. Appreciate you being here with us. Excited to chat with you about a hot topic, namely interactive content marketing. Let me go through a couple logistics for everyone real quick, and then we'll turn the show over to you, Connor. Let's see. For starters, the big news on our end is we finally cobbled together our couple months worth of work, and we're going to be launching micro influencers this summer. And you can apply now at Writer Access if you want to earn some dough for what you know and your reach in the social sphere. The price points for payment for influencers ranges from like 20, $30 for a post to as much as $100 for a post. So it's pretty good a variation there depending upon how many followers and fans you have. We're primarily focused on Instagram and Facebook and Twitter, and it's a great complement to Writer Access. We have about I think 16 or 17,000 freelancers in our pool of talent these days. We expanded to translators and content strategists in the last 6 months to 8 months, and that's gone really well. So yeah, Writer Access continues to grow and evolve, and we're excited about that. And of course, everyone will receive a link to this recording, as well as an ability to download the fabulous deck that I took a sneak peek at that Connor put together today. Really excited to have him here with us, and a great presentation that I took a sneak peek on. He was a popular speaker at CMC as well, Content Marketing Conference. So we're looking forward to having him on board here. We had a really great registration for our webinar as well. We appreciate you guys being here to listen in. I'm going to take a look for your questions and store them all up, and I'll give you quick answers to things that you might ask me about, or I'll be monitoring the questions on the right side of your GoToWebinar screen. And if you want to share any Twitter love, you can also share it at Brandcast app, which you'll see in a second as well when I go through the presentation. So everybody knows who I am, I'm sure. I'm still exhausted from our content marketing conference, I must confess. But it was about a month ago. And wow, what a turnout. The response has been incredible. And for any of you that may have been at that event, we will be posting all of the sessions and the keynotes. There were 45 sessions and 20 keynotes, 10 of which were part of Comedy Marketing Keynote Series, which was a new creation this year that was an absolute smash hit. So you'll have access to that if you're a member over at Writer Access. And we'll be getting everyone some information about that as well, and including we'll send a special invite to the people that registered for this webinar, even if you're not a member of Writer Access, with a way to go access this perhaps for 30 days to check out those recordings. They're pretty special, pretty good opportunity to basically attend all the educational value from a conference without attending it. So we have that for our members at Writer Access. So but without further ado, we're going to turn things over to our guest today, Connor Egan, who had a chance to meet and hang out with at CMC. Super talented. He was part of our epic dinner we had for all of our speakers with like 60 people on the waterfront in Boston. We had a good time. I was talking with him after people were leaving, and he was talking about, he has a fascinating background, which we probably won't have time to get into today unless the questions are light, and I'll try to ask him a few questions about his experiences of the world, which are truly epic as well. I said the word epic twice, but this one really is epic. But anyway, I was saying, he's Byron, is there any way that I could get back to my hotel on a boat? Because we were right next to the water, and I'm like, I think there is a water taxi actually. So sure enough, he's on his phone trying to figure out if the water taxi's running in like May to pick him up and summons him back to his hotel via water. That did not happen, but the fact that he would have done that and was interested in it, I think, is very telling about Connor and who he is and his adventurous nature. So he's going to lead us into some new terrain here, which is part of his adventurous background for sure. So just one quick note, and then I'm going to literally turn things over. Interactive content is itself, I think, an interesting word and or phrase that that you might want to learn more about, perhaps? And certainly I do. I mean, from my perspective, it's certainly content that requires participation and some sort of active engagement, if you will, to partake in. But it's also broad based in how I've seen it defined, with a purpose to essentially better the way to educate and engage the audience and even entertain them. And I think the word better is the centerpiece there. I think this is an evolving, a sort of, cult, if you will, and fad with content marketing. But I think it's a lot more than that. It's how you get better. It's how you use the information that you're getting from your audience to make your educational tracks better. So that's all I wanted to say about it. But I defer to Connor to give us a much deeper insight. So I'm going to turn things over by quickly changing my presenter. Give me 1 second, and here we go. The show is now yours, Connor. Take it away.
All right. And is my screen coming through okay there? Should be the initial slide. Is that looking good, Byron?
It's fantastic. Everything is great. Looks fabulous. Thank you.
Awesome. And thank you very much for that introduction, and thank you for putting on such a great conference in Boston. I was not able to find a boat. It was probably good. It was well into the evening, so any boat I would have gotten onto probably was not a sanctioned taxi, and I don't know if I'd be here today. So probably a good thing I didn't find that. But if anyone hasn't made the Content Marketing Conference, I wholeheartedly recommend it. Byron's obviously very passionate about this subject, and it comes through by putting on a great conference and bringing you information like this. So really try and do that next year. We'll probably see you there. Again, my name is Connor Egan. I'm the Chief Customer Evangelist at Brandcast. My professional background is actually in product and engineering. So I've been building tools and platforms for marketers to reach their customers with compelling content for over a decade now, and most recently here at Brandcast. So this presentation is called How to Master Interactive Content Marketing. I can't promise you'll master it by the end of a half hour or so, but I certainly have some interesting insights in here that I hope you can take back with you. And then in the second half of the presentation, I'm also going to do a bit of a hands-on product demo that shows you how quickly you can leverage really compelling interactive content today. So first off, let me tell you a little bit about Brandcast as a platform. So Brandcast is a code-free digital experience manager. And digital experience managers are really just sort of the evolution of web publishing today. They're designed to be owned by the marketing team so that they can create really compelling content quickly and without the need for code. We were originally funded by Mark Benioff, the CEO of Salesforce. And we're really trying to bring the value that Salesforce brought to the sales team in terms of bringing their whole workflow under one platform and doing that for the marketing team as they're doing their web work today. So in the bottom right, you see some of the customers we're working with today. The really exciting thing is that each of these customers is using us for a very different use case. And it's always exciting to see what our customers can do on the web once they're sort of freed from the need to involve IT. So I'm going to go ahead and jump into the presentation now, and we're going to talk about how we can all kind of up our content marketing game and make that a more relevant part of our marketing process. So a little bit into the past, present, and future of content marketing as we see it. So I'm going to take you all the way back in time to the 2000s. In the early 2000s, a lot of the marketing tools we had were around SEO and email and blogging. Really, the only found content was to start at a search engine. And then that would ultimately lead you back to content that was relatively passive and generally only consumed on the desktop. And I'm sure that a lot of people today were using blogs and email back then to reach their customers. And then as we got to the advent of things like the iPhone and YouTube and social networks, our marketing became much more conversational. So a bit more of a two-way path. And we were creating more engaging video content, more expensive content. And we were also dealing with social networks, which we didn't necessarily initially think were going to be a marketing channel, but quickly evolved into one of the most dominant ones. And at this time, we were still kind of creating separate experiences for the mobile phone. It was still not kind of considered the prime way that people interacted with your content. If we fast forward today, the landscape we're all dealing with at the moment, the content needs to be more interactive, and it's going to be omni-channel content. So rather than a separate experience for the mobile phone, we're creating responsive designs so that the same content can be leveraged all over the place. This is also very important, if you're having content show up on a TV or a watch or anything else. We also are starting to use data and be able to personalize our message so that we can deliver the right message to the right people at the right time. And so with this has come a lot of sophistication in the type of ways that we can market, but also a lot more demand for content marketers to come up with this content. So Byron talked about this a little bit, but what is interactive content? And the definition we have here is it's content that requires the participants' active engagement more than simply reading or watching. So some of the examples on the left are a little more obvious, like an infographic that's animated or changes based on input, something like a calculator, like a cost of ownership calculator or an ROI calculator. And then also we can make more interactive things that traditionally were a bit more passive, like ebooks or white papers, which I'm sure that a lot of people on the phone are already producing today. So why interactive content specifically? We do kind of need to understand why we're talking